Guten Tag, everybody. It's Dieter. So, Dieter, what are we going to do today? Well, Dieter's going to talk about shape. And yeah, the shape of your guitar is very important, whether you believe it or not. You may not be aware of this. Listen, pros already know what they like. I try to help people who may be like me, getting back into it after a long layoff, or maybe you have 2 or 3 guitars, you're getting a little better, you think, oh, there's so much out there now, what should I look at? And the other reason I do this is I have no agenda other than to help you. I'm not the best player, but I have a good ear and I can play a little bit, and I'm a very stubborn guy who makes up his own mind, always has. So I guarantee you, every place you go, somebody will try to sell you something in a shop because they have lots of these, or because they think they're superior to you and you should listen to what they say. Everybody has a preference, me too, but I try and be as unbiased as possible, always. And I would never ever bought anything because someone said, oh, this is really good. I've gone to look at things because people have said this is really good, okay, and then I make up my own mind. Now when I talk about guitars, I don't mean to offend anyone. If you have a great guitar and you say, well, Dieter, you never mentioned this, it's because I don't know it. And you might have a brilliant guitar. It might be a name brand that I've said I don't particularly like them, because the ones I have played, I always compare. I go to a shop and all the models in the price range I'm looking at, by every maker, I make sure I look at every one. And I play them, I close my eyes, and I really take my time to pick them out. So when I show you one of my guitars, I've never sold a guitar, never. I'm 66 years old. I got my first real guitar when I was 17, and I have never sold a guitar, not once. Don't even consider it, because the guitar I bought was the best for the money that I could find at that time in the area that I was living. That's it. So this is my advice that I'm trying to give to you. So we're going to start today. It was very humid today, and we're going to have a non-alcoholic. I don't want you to think Dieter's crazy drunk. A non-alcoholic Beck's beer, okay? Why not? Because we can, and I don't care. I like to pour. I like head on my beer, right? So, whatever country you're from, Prost, Skål, cheers. Let me tell you, that feels so good. So good, Dieter, on a day like today. Wunderbar. So, I don't care what kind of guitar you have, but if you're interested in the history of guitars like me, and hearing pleasant sounds, it's always nice to go and see what's around. But I will tell you, okay, I have 28 guitars now, and I'm going to tell you what I think, to my ears, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. The absolute best shape you can have for a guitar is that figure 8 that was developed by Antonio de Torres. Sorry, CF Martin, it wasn't you. You did the Dreadnought, and that's a nice design and so on, right? But the guitars, by far and large, every good guitar that I've played or listened to, I will tell you, the top of the top, la creme de la creme, were all non-cutaway figure 8 tops, whether they were steel string or nylon string. The other thing, they all had ebony fretboards, and they all had spruce tops. I've heard some really nice cedar top guitars, but I would pick spruce over cedar. Okay. Back and sides doesn't affect the tone nearly as much as people would like to claim it does. So the top, the bracing, the fingerboard, the joint at the neck I think is more important. I don't think it matters much whether your neck is mahogany or Spanish cedar or maple, as long as it's, you know, as long as it's stable. Now, so why do I say this? Well, interesting. I have some decent guitars, I would say, you know. But out of all the guitars I have some mid-priced models, and this is why I think I'm good guy to maybe listen to, or not. But I have some medium-priced guitars. I have some lower-end guitars, not cheap ones. I don't have anything with a plywood top. I will not do that. Okay. And then I have some higher-end mass-produced factory guitars, and then I have three that I'm sure were handmade or custom-made shops. Okay. One is my old Studio 55 Norman, and I know it was like a custom shop back in the day. That was their high-end guitar, and they only probably had a few people working on that, so I consider that a custom shop guitar. Some jerk-off at a repair shop tried to tell me, without even looking at it, I took it out of the case, I was holding it back here. Says, he sees the name on it, he goes, that's a plywood top, go away, it's not worth fixing. I wish my eyes were that good, that I can tell what kind of top it is without even looking at it. Huh? Don't you? Superman, maybe, huh? So anyway, it's one of my nicest guitars. And I have a Boucher, which I know was made by one person, or maybe a couple of other people have them with little things, but essentially a luthier made that guitar. Beautiful guitar. And I went to my storage locker today to pull out my Yamaha Classical that was made, I think, in 1999. And that is from a custom shop, and I know there were only 6 or 8 people in Yamaha's custom shop at that time, so I know that is a custom shop guitar. It's the low end too, but it's all I could afford at the time. But it's a very nice guitar. And the reason I say this is, if I had to go to prison for whatever reason for 10 years, and they said, okay, you can have one guitar, okay? Or if I was on a desert island, stranded for, I don't know, a year, 2 years, 10 years, a decade, or stranded in the mountains, or I had to take a posting as a lighthouse keeper in the Bering Sea. Oh, one guitar, you can take one guitar. I would not hesitate. Take me 1 second. I would take my custom shop Yamaha Classical. Right? Right. But it's behind me there. I'll show you later. And why? Because it has all the nuances. It was carefully made. The top was tapped and massaged, and the braces were, I mean, it had some love put into it, and you can feel it when you play it, and you can hear it. And it's, I would think, it would be the most versatile guitar. Now, I only want to get one more guitar. I've looked at some too. I can't afford it right now. But I would like to have a 12 fret steel string guitar with a 1 3/4 or even a 1 5/8 bigger than 3/4. And a 1 3/4 or slightly bigger width, and ebony fingerboard and a Sitco or Adirondack spruce top with rosewood back and sides, probably because I have some mahogany. Steel string guitar, that's what I would want, because to me I don't have one. I have played two that I loved, and one was a Boucher and one was a Larrivee, because that's what I could find. And I would have happily walked out with either, but I didn't have that much money. So if any of you are very rich and take pity on poor Dieter here, send me one of those. I will really appreciate it and give you a good review. Anyway, I digress. So this is she, my Grand Concert Yamaha. It's serial number 271. It was signed by Mr. K. Takayama or something like that. But anyway, why these are so good is Yamaha. Yamaha's a very good company. So they went and they sent, they talked to some good Spanish makers, I think in the 60s or 70s. And they said, look, we want to make good guitars like you guys. So they said, come on over. So Yamaha sent, I think, 2 or 3 of their top craftsmen over there and studied with them for a year or 2. And then brought them back to Japan for a couple of months to set up their custom classical shop. And they made really good guitars. Now, when I got this guitar, I got a nice little 4-page cool booklet with a photo of all these guys, the 2 Spanish luthiers that helped them, and I think 8 Japanese craftsmen, all smiling. And they all signed it, and it goes, we are the guys that made your guitar. And this is the first guitar I ordered sight unseen. I had to pay for half of it, almost. And I waited, I think, 4 to 6 months for it to come from Japan. And I had right of refusal if I didn't like it. Well, it came, and I'll be honest, like nylon strings guitars, they're always out of tune when you get them, because that's the nature of nylon strings. And so, you know, you get it out and you tune it up, and it does not sound very good out of the box. You know, it came right from the factory, probably never been played. And the salesman could see I was a little disappointed because I was so excited. And he says, look, it just needs to be played. And I go, yeah, I understand. And yeah, I took it home, played it, and loved it. I mean, it was impeccable. I don't know if it's Brazilian or Madagascar rosewood. Nice binding, European, German spruce top. Ebony fingerboard, a 2-piece neck, but one piece here, and then an extra piece here at the foot and the heel. But it looks to me like it's some kind of mahogany, and it's a gorgeous guitar. It will sustain forever. I don't like to make too long videos, so I will do another video and play this when I practice. I'll practice up a piece for you. But I just want to explain why the figure 8 is the choice. You see, a figure 8 shaped like that, it gives you all. Okay, the top is responsible for most of your sound, but then the depth of the sound box, and you see, you have more area when it joins at the 12th fret. You have a bigger upper bout. This is your upper bout, your lower bout, and you have more area here. So you have more overtones. You have more resonance. You have better. This defines mostly your trebles and your mid-range. And so when you have a full figure 8 guitar, you're getting the benefit of all that nuance. This is why they sound so good. You ever see any accomplished classical guitarist play a cutaway? No. It's like the grand piano, right? The pianist always plays the grand piano. classical player always plays a figure 8 full-bodied classical, always. That's why. Now, interesting enough, my breather here sounds so good. If someone was to tell me this came from a custom shop, I would believe him. It's that good. So I don't believe it's from a custom shop, but it sure was made like it is from a custom shop. And look at the shape. Looks a lot like the Torres shape of the classical behind me. Now this joins at the 14th fret. And you can see how it looks squashed, compacted there. If it joined at the 12th, see? It would have, I guarantee you, as good as this sounds. And it sounds pretty good. Really nice sustain on this too. But it would even sound better. Now, some of you may think, oh, well, cutaways look cool. Dieter, come on. My cutaway sounds just as good as that. No, it doesn't. I guarantee you, you take comparable instruments of quality and a full figure 8 guitar with a steel string or nylon string and a cutaway guitar, and you close your eyes and you just listen honestly and don't look at that name. If you pick the cutaway, Dieter would suggest that you go here to an audiologist and get your hearing checked. And I'm not trying to be cool, I'm just being honest, okay? So that's the best shape for a guitar. You don't believe me? Ask a luthier. Ask a luthier who has no horse in the race. Dieter has no horse in the race. All right, so I'll practice up and play that nice Yamaha for you, but I just thought that maybe you might see some of my other stuff and go, whoa, this guy's got a lot of shit. What the fuck? Does he know what he's talking about? Well, maybe sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. But, it's alcohol free. So, can you trust me or not? I don't know. The choice is yours. Have a good day and keep playing. No matter what you have, keep playing. Like, I'm not trying to put anyone down. The only thing that bothers me sometimes is sometimes people knock CNC machines and go, oh, they all sound the same. Well, yeah, but the thing is that what the CNC machine has done, it has made good guitars accessible for people like me with less money who can't. It's made. Before, cheap guitars were crap. Even medium price guitars, it was a crapshoot. But now you get a good medium price guitar. The thing about CNC machines, and this is what's funny, this is what Dieter laughs about. I'm just using these as an example. If you get a high-end, if your Martin or your Taylor, for example, is not from the custom shop where they actually have someone who's tuning and tapping the braces and changing the thickness. Sometimes, sometimes in a really good custom guitar, the treble side will be thinner. So your top isn't 3 or 2.5 millimeters all along. It might be 3 millimeters here, and then it might be 2.5 here, and might even be 2 millimeters there. See, and the problem with a really good guitar, they're more delicate because they're finely tuned. So you have to look after them. And a really good guitar will still probably have French polish on it, which is shellac, because they're fine instruments and you have to look after them. And if you charge $7,000-10,000 for this, you don't want it coming back because someone abused it. So, yeah. So this is why I think this is also why I say, okay, you spent $3,000 for this Martin or this Taylor. It's not custom. It's not custom, and you think because it costs 3 times as much as a Yamaha or a Godin or a Seagull or a Court, it's 3 times better. No, it's the same. It is the same. It's the same. That's why I say, okay, you paid You're getting ripped off. You paid $3,000 for a $700 guitar. That's what you did, okay? Now, you might have a good one because every so often, you know, sometimes every piece of wood is different. So maybe that piece of wood sings at 2.7 millimeters or whatever it is. Maybe 1 out of every 100 or 200 is like that. And if you got that a gem, good for you. But you were lucky. They do that, the CNC, it's standardized. It's like your foot, right? You go buy a shoe, like, you know, I have a slightly wider foot, but generally, you know, shoes are made for the norm. The norm, the average is not good for everybody. That's all I have to say. So, you know, don't pay $3,000 for a $700 guitar. I believe if you pay over $3,000, you should have some degree of some luthier who's got his hand on there and said, no, wait a minute, we need to do this, we need to do that. Then you're not getting ripped off. But don't tell me, don't show me your $4,000. I had a friend, he had a $6,000. I wanted his Martin to sound nice. It sounded like shit. Why? Because they had an 1/8 of an inch of fucking finish on that thing. And I'll tell you how arrogant these guys are. We took it to the shop. They told me right to my face, there's something wrong with your hearing. That Martin does not make mistakes. I went, really? Well, here's the fucking guitar, and you can feel, it feels like a piece of fucking 10 pounds of plastic. That's all I have to say. Wiedersehen.